Last week, my wife and I were in Israel on a solidarity mission. From the moment we landed at the airport, you could feel the emotions. You could feel the strength of the people of Israel. We went to incredibly dramatic places. We went to the site of the 𝘄𝗵𝗿𝗀 Music Festival. It was so powerful, so emotional, where so many innocent people were murdered.
I'm 20 years old, and I'm gonna explain to you what happened here and where you are. This is 𝘄𝗵𝗿. This was 𝘄𝗵𝗿, the music festival that all of you guys heard about. Here, where you see all of the trees, you had camping sites. People come here to this type of festival to enjoy themselves, to hear music. Here you can find all sorts of people, from families with young children to elderly people to people with disabilities. People just here in peace. These are the people that choose love. I was with my boyfriend. I was very happy. 6 and something in the morning, we started seeing a lot of rockets. So it was just the trees. Nowhere to protect ourselves. A minute later, we find a shelter. The first one that we saw, a roll shelter. We got inside. And we were joking around and laughing and send our location to our families and explain everything was okay. And suddenly there were a lot of people from the party that came inside the shelter. Also because of the rockets. We became 40 people. We were a little desperate because we were suffocating in there with this amount of people. There was a police officer that was outside the shelter and another soldier, a woman and a man. And we heard her speaking in the radio and saying that she was shot and she was going to get killed. We heard her getting killed from the outside. And from the moment that they killed her, they went inside and threw the first gas grenade. In less than 1 minute, we couldn't breathe at all. Not a little bit of oxygen in there. And they started throwing other grenades and gas grenades and normal grenades. And they would wait for the gas to go lower so they could go inside and shoot everyone that was in their side, everyone that moved. That's what I did for hours. We didn't know what to do. We came to a party. We don't have anything to defend ourselves. We were just like young people that came to a party, and suddenly we are in a roll shelter and what is going on? Suddenly a woman, she fell on me. She was on my body with the amount of people in there, gas, smoke. I couldn't breathe at all. She was hysterical. And I started saying to Rafael and to my boyfriend Hanani, you guys have to take her off me, I'm gonna die. That's simple. So he looked at me, shook his head. I have no idea how to help you. And he said to me, babe, I know I'm gonna die. We're all gonna die. And I have to try to do something. And he left, tried to leave. Just started pushing people and try to get outside. I didn't see then what happened to him because I was under the woman. He was shot several times. He fell on the ground. And I didn't know if this happened when he was still alive or not, but a grenade got to him and he was all exploded from the front. I started thinking to myself, okay, so they're gonna come inside and check one by one, and then I'm gonna feel a gun in my head and then a shot or just someone shooting at me. I would prepare myself. Or maybe I should get up? No, they're still shooting. Should I wait? I'm gonna die anyways. What do I do? Stay there on their bodies for 5 hours. From all of the noise that you had, suddenly you had a few moans in pain and a few people crying. Everybody just stayed quiet and pretend we were dead. We were in the middle of a lot of bodies, so it wasn't that hard to pretend you're dead. This guy came inside. He started to scream, who is alive still? I got up. And I suddenly paid attention that between me and him, there was a lot of bodies, a lot of them. I can't even describe to you how they looked because there were so much blood. Got outside, saw my boyfriend with his back upwards with a lot of gunshots. Saw a fireplace that they did with bodies that they burned. And from there, ambulances got to us and took us to 𝘄𝗵𝗿𝗀, that's a hospital in 𝘄𝗵𝗿𝗀. I stayed there. You can imagine the mess that was the hospital on that day. Doctors screaming, people severely hurt, dead people, families crying. families going around with pictures. Do you know my son? Please, have you seen him somewhere? And I stayed there for hours until I saw a doctor talking to my mom that was looking for me for hours. He opened the curtain. She looked at me and he said, "Are you joking? Why would you say that? Why would you tell me you found my daughter? This is not my daughter." She didn't even recognize me because I was so much covered in blood and so much covered in smoke that my mother didn't recognize me. I said to her, she started to go away, and I told her, "Mom." She came, looked at me, and then she understood that that was me.
We toured a kibbutz, 𝘊𝗵𝗄𝗏.
One of the 22 communities were affected on October 7th, where a lot of children were running around the grass barefoot. A lot of young couples who chose to live here, moved here. They're not members of the kibbutz, and they chose to come here, live here, grow their children here, because it was heaven on earth. But there were 950 people that lived here on October 6th. And again, they lived the best life. Quiet, peaceful, chose to live here because they truly believed in peace. We're talking about 63 people who were murdered here, 19 were kidnapped, and 6 were severely injured. Only in this kibbutz, almost 10% of the population either kidnapped or murdered on that day.
Outside their homes were signs that let us know who was murdered there. And the most difficult was to go into the home of this beautiful young couple. And learn how on an early Saturday morning they were ripped from their bed and brutalized and murdered right in their own home. While in Tel Aviv, we went to Hostage Square, which is a plaza dedicated to families of hostages, where they can come and congregate. They even built a tunnel similar to the ones that Hamas has in Gaza that we could walk through just to get the feel of what those tunnels are actually like. We heard from the mother of a 21-year-old hostage who is still being held in Gaza.
𝗀𝗵𝗿 was kidnapped at October 7 from the Nova Festival. We talked with 𝗀𝗵𝗿 a few times, and last time I called him at 9:45 a.m. He was panicked. He was afraid. He said that they got to the car and they are trying to escape from there. He sent the live location and then the phone stopped. And on the live location we saw that the point is going not to the right way. My daughter started to cry. She said something is wrong. I tried to call him again. The phone was ringing, but 𝗀𝗵𝗿 didn't answer. And we saw on live that the point is getting into Gaza. We didn't want to believe that what we see is true. We thought maybe somebody stole his phone. And after 54 days, the friends who were kidnapped with him, Itai and Maya Regev, came back So we got to know what happened, what is the situation of Omer. So they told us that when they were kidnapped, they took them to the tunnels, they beat them because they want to know if they are soldiers.
We heard from incredible educators from the organization 𝘀𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗀.
One day, our great-grandchildren are going to ask their parents, where were we? They're going to learn about this. And they're going to say, where were we and what did we do? And they're going to be able to say, you showed up. You showed up. We need to show up for each other.
And while it was terrible and dramatic and emotional, to be in Israel now and to experience the strength and resilience of the Jewish people is unparalleled. It's one thing to learn about the pain and atrocities that occurred, but when you step off that plane and you show up for the Jewish people, you show up and say, I'm here, I empathize, I'm here. We volunteered and cooked for hundreds of IDF soldiers. It was incredible. This is the time to not just learn about what happened, to experience the pain by going there and to do something about it. Let's help Israel by showing our solidarity. Let's contribute to the resilience of the Jewish people.